Dr. Marcus Chen had been running the Frontier Veterinary Clinic on Outpost Tau for 3 years without major incident. He treated miners' companion animals, helped maintain the station's small agricultural section, and occasionally patched up exotic pets that smugglers forgot to declare at customs. Then Lady Kira Moonshadow walked into his clinic, and everything changed. She was Felinar nobility. That much was obvious from her bearing alone. Tall and elegant, with silver white fur that seemed to glow under the harsh station lighting, violet eyes that suggested genetic modification, and ears adorned with jeweled piercings that probably cost more than Marcus's annual salary. Her tail moved with aristocratic precision, and even in simple traveling clothes, she radiated authority. She was also carrying a dying kitten. "Please," she said without preamble. "My daughter, she's sick. I have credits, name your price." Marcus didn't ask questions. He took the small Felinar kitten, maybe 6 months old, with the same silver fur as her mother, and rushed her to the examination table. Severe dehydration, malnutrition, and what his scanner identified as crimson fever, a disease that was highly treatable with the right medication. "She'll be fine," Marcus said, administering the injection and setting up an IV. "But she's been sick for a while. Why didn't you seek treatment sooner?" Lady Kira's ears flattened. "We've been traveling." Without proper resources. Marcus noticed her clothes then, expensive fabric but worn, travel-stained. Her fur, though beautiful, showed signs of stress, and the way she watched the door suggested someone running from something. "You're in exile," he guessed. "Is it that obvious?" Only to someone who's seen it before. Outpost Tau attracts people who need to disappear. Marcus checked the kitten's vitals. "She's stable now, needs rest, fluids, and follow-up medication for 7 days." "I can pay." "I'm sure you can, but first tell me what you're running from." Kira hesitated, then seemed to deflate slightly. "My family, the Moonshadow clan. I was disgraced, exiled along with my daughter." "What did you do?" "I married for love instead of political advantage. My husband was a commoner, a merchant trader. My family arranged a match with Lord Shadowclaw, a powerful noble who would have elevated our clan's status. When I refused and eloped instead, they declared me dead to the family." Marcus applied a warming blanket to the kitten. "But you have a child. Why is she exiled too?" "Because she's illegitimate in their eyes. My marriage wasn't sanctioned by the clan, so Yuki has no legal standing, no inheritance rights, no family name technically." Kira's voice hardened. "And when my husband died in a shuttle accident 6 months ago, I had nothing. No resources, no allies. Just my daughter and what few possessions we could carry. That's barbaric. That's Felinar nobility." She touched her daughter's small hand gently. "I've been searching for work, but no one wants to hire exiled nobility. We're too proud to do manual labor, they assume, and too controversial to trust with anything important." Marcus studied her, pride warring with desperation, love for her daughter evident in every gesture. "You need a place to stay." "I have a small room in Section D, barely affordable, but we manage." "That's the worst section of the station. Environmental controls barely work and the recyclers are outdated." Marcus made a decision. "Stay here. The clinic has a back room with a bed. You can help me with the animals, earn your keep, and Yuki can recover properly." Kira stared at him. "Why would you help us?" Because your daughter needs care, and because everyone deserves a chance to rebuild. Marcus smiled slightly. Besides, I could use an assistant. The work's been piling up. Over the next 3 weeks, Kira proved herself invaluable. She was intelligent, quick to learn, and surprisingly good with the animals. Yuki recovered completely, transforming into a bright, curious child who asked endless questions about Earth animals and why humans didn't have tails. It seems very inconvenient, Yuki observed seriously. How do you show emotions? Facial expressions, voice tone, words. Marcus demonstrated a smile. But that's so complicated. Why not just swish your tail? I'll bring it up with human evolution, see if we can get tails added in the next update. Yuki giggled, and Marcus caught Kira watching him with an unreadable expression. One evening, after Yuki had gone to bed, Kira approached Marcus in the main clinic. "We need to talk about compensation," she said formally. "You've housed and fed us for 3 weeks. That represents significant debt. You've been working, call it even." "It's not even. My labor doesn't equal the value of what you've provided." Kira's tail swished with agitation. "In Felinar culture, debts must be balanced, and I cannot offer you enough credits to repay this." "Then don't worry about it. I'm not keeping a ledger." "But I am." She moved closer, her violet eyes intense. "Marcus, I need to propose something. It's unconventional, but it would balance our accounts and provide security for both of us." Marcus set down the medical supplies he'd been organizing. "I'm listening. You're 34, unmarried, running a clinic on a frontier outpost. You want children. I've seen how you interact with Yuki, the gentleness, the patience. But you have no prospects here, no time to pursue relationships." "Okay, slightly concerned about where this is going. I'm proposing a contract, a formal arrangement." Kira's ears were flat with nervousness, but her voice stayed steady. "I can't be your wife. I'm still in mourning for my husband, and Felinar customs require 3 years before remarrying. But I can give you heirs. Children who will carry your name, inherit your practice. Legitimate offspring that will care for you in old age." Marcus felt like the station's gravity had increased. "You're offering to have my children without marriage?" "It's done in Felinar culture. Surrogacy contracts, genetic arrangements. We would formalize everything legally. I would bear your children, you would acknowledge them as yours, and we would co-parent. I would continue working in the clinic, helping to build the practice, and the children would have security and a future. In exchange for erasing your debt. In exchange for giving both of us what we need. You need family. I need stability and protection for Yuki. This solves both problems." Marcus stared at her, trying to process. "Kira, that's not. I don't need heirs." Everyone needs family, Marcus. You've been alone on this station for 3 years. You work constantly because going home to an empty apartment is depressing. You light up around Yuki because she fills something that's been missing." Kira's voice softened. "Let me give you children. Let me give you the family you want but are too practical to pursue." "What about what you want?" "I want my daughter safe. I want a future for her. And I want—" She paused. "I want to repay the kindness you've shown us. You saw 2 strangers in desperate need, and you helped without asking for anything in return. That kind of goodness deserves to be rewarded. By having my children, Kira, that's not a debt repayment, that's a life commitment." "I know." Her tail curled nervously. "But I'm offering anyway. Think about it." Marcus didn't sleep that night. He thought about Kira's proposal, about the cold practicality of it, a contract for children. No love, no marriage, just a transaction that happened to involve creating life. It felt wrong, but it also felt tempting. He did want children. He'd given up on that dream when he'd taken this posting, assuming he'd spend his life in frontier clinics, alone but useful. The idea of family, even this strange contractual version, called to something deep. 2 days later, he gave Kira his answer. No. She'd been preparing medication in the lab and her hands stilled. No. I'm not going to father children through a contract. That's not how I want to become a parent. Her ears flattened with what looked like pain. I understand. I'll find another way to repay. I'm not finished. Marcus moved closer. I'm saying no to the contract because I don't want that kind of relationship with you. I want something real. Marcus, I told you I can't marry for 3 years, my mourning period. I don't mean marriage, not yet. He took her hands gently. Kira, I've been falling for you since you walked into this clinic. The way you love Yuki, the way you work, how you laugh when Yuki asks ridiculous questions. Your strength, your pride, even when you're asking for help. I don't want a contract. I want to court you properly. She stared at him, ears shifting through positions that suggested confusion, hope, fear. You want to court me? I'm exiled nobility with a child and massive family debt. I have nothing to offer you. You have yourself. That's everything. But the debt is imaginary. You don't owe me anything, Kira. You've worked hard, you've contributed to the clinic, and more importantly, you've brought joy to my life. Marcus smiled. I don't need heirs, I need partners, you and Yuki, if you'll have me. For 3 years, we couldn't marry. You'd be courting me with no guarantee of, I'm patient. And 3 years gives us time to build something solid, to make sure this is real for both of us. To let Yuki get comfortable with the idea. He squeezed her hands gently. What do you say? Will you let me court you the right way? Kira's eyes filled with tears. Why? Why would you choose this difficult path when I offered you an easy answer? Because children conceived as payment aren't children conceived in love. And I want my family, our family, built on something stronger than contracts. Marcus wiped her tears carefully. I want mornings where Yuki asks me why humans are weird. I want evenings working alongside you in the clinic. I want to build a life together, not just arrange for offspring. You're ridiculous. But she was smiling through the tears. You could have heirs without the complications of courtship, without dealing with my emotional baggage or my exile status. I don't want heirs, I want you. She kissed him then, soft and tentative and tasting of salt from her tears. When they broke apart, she was purring. 3 years, she whispered. 3 years of courtship before we can marry, are you certain? Completely. Gives me time to win over Yuki. You've already won her over. She told me yesterday that you'd make an excellent father because you know the names of all the earth animals and you don't get mad when she asks too many questions. Marcus laughed. Then I'm halfway there. They told Yuki together that evening. The kitten listened with serious attention, her small ears perked forward. So Marcus would be like, my father? Yuki asked carefully. Even though my real father died. Marcus would be your father if you wanted him to be, Kira said gently. But your first father will always be your first father. Marcus would be adding to our family, not replacing anyone. Yuki considered this with the gravity of childhood. Then she turned to Marcus. Would I have to call you father, or could I call you Marcus? Whatever feels right to you. And would you teach me about earth animals, all of them? Every single one. And when Mama has more kittens with you, Marcus and Kira both choked on air. Would they be my siblings? We haven't discussed, Kira started. Yes, Marcus said firmly. If your mother and I have children together, they'd absolutely be your siblings. Yuki nodded, satisfied. Okay, you can court Mama, but you have to be nice to her because she's been sad since Papa died and I don't want her sad anymore. I promise to do everything I can to make her happy. Good. Yuki returned to her drawing. Also, we need a dog. The clinic should have a dog. We'll discuss it, Kira said, but she was smiling. 3 years passed in what felt like moments. Marcus and Kira built the clinic into a thriving practice, with Kira handling administration and client relations while Marcus focused on medicine. Yuki grew into a bright 10-year-old who could diagnose basic ailments and had strong opinions about proper animal care. They were a family in everything but legal name. On the 3-year anniversary of Kira's husband's death, she came to Marcus with formal bearing. My mourning period is complete, she said. According to Felinar custom, I'm free to remarry. I'm aware. Marcus set aside his work. I've had a calendar counting down for 2 years. You have. Kira, I've been ready to marry you since month 6. I've just been waiting for you to be ready. She pulled out a small box and Marcus's eyes widened. Inside was a traditional human engagement ring, simple, elegant, clearly chosen with great care. In human culture, the person proposing offers a ring, Kira said, her voice shaking slightly. In Felinar culture, the female chooses her mate. I'm combining both traditions. She took his hand. Marcus Chen, will you marry me? Will you be my husband, Yuki's father, and potentially the father of future children who are conceived in love rather than contract? Marcus pulled out his own box and Kira laughed when she saw the matching ring inside. Beat you to it, he said. I was going to propose tonight, but yes, Kira Moonshadow, yes to all of it. They married in a small ceremony on the station, with Yuki as the flower girl and half the outpost in attendance. When Marcus slipped the ring on Kira's finger, she whispered, I can't believe you turned down my offer of heirs. Best decision I ever made, he whispered back. Because this, us Yuki, the life we built, this is so much better than a contract. Even though it took 3 years, especially because it took 3 years, we built something real. A year later, Kira gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl with silver fur and Marcus's dark eyes. Yuki was an enthusiastic big sister, teaching them animal names before they could walk. And Marcus, watching his wife feed their infants, while Yuki explained the difference between Earth cats and Felinar to the babies, reflected on how grateful he was that he'd said no. Kira had offered heirs as payment for a debt. Marcus had offered love and built a family. And in the end, love was always the better answer.